Hello and welcome to another episode of the Contractor Grow Show. My name is Mark Lamberth. I'm your host. Today I'm speaking with Dennis Kelsay at East Valley Remodeling in Chandler, Arizona. Dennis, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, Mark. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so I would love to start just by hearing, in your words, what specific services you offer for your customers.
Well, we are a design build company. We are licensed in residential and commercial construction. We get into primarily existing structures and we do additions and smaller structures, I guess, that would be on the same property. We do everything from plan development with our customers all the way to finished product. So it's turnkey. You don't have to come with plans necessarily. Just come with your ideas, and we'll start with setbacks and things, and make sure it's possible to start with.
Oh man, I love design build companies. So do you to do that, do you have an architect on staff or do you do a bunch of the design work yourself? How does that happen?
Well, I have a drafting degree.
Hmm.
Most of my college experience was drafting and architecture. I wasn't really sure that I was going to go into construction at that point, and just kind of happened to migrate into this field. And yeah, I have engineers that I do a lot of plan development, like sketches and things for design, and then I'll send them to a draftsman or engineer to prove that it's going to work and get us through the permit process at that point. Just to most of my most of my drafting and things is just to get the point across, and to start with the homeowners and just plan development start.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
And then do you guys do much commercial work or is it largely residential?
primarily residential. Let's see, we've done plastic surgeon's office and a few TIs, and we worked on a flying foods project pretty much as a sub at that point for a larger Texas contractor. That was pretty cool. We just picked up like metal stud framing and kind of a lot of variable, non-specialized stuff. I think they really liked us because we were pretty flexible in what we do. In remodeling, it's kind of a wide spectrum, and you do fill in with subs and stuff, but you kind of need to know a lot, it seems to me, and utilize your guys in the best way possible. That's the trick. Is like you got to have skilled guys to do X and fill in all the blanks with the subcontractors and so forth that they are better at.
Uh-huh. And do you have a team or do you kind of full time or do you work with a bunch of subs?
We are a micro company, really. I have two guys working for me. Well, really three guys working for me currently, and then a lot of subcontractors.
Huh. Well, I was curious about the sort of difference between having a team versus subcontractors. We've talked to some folks they were a small team and then they grew up to this big team with, 16, 20 guys full time. And then they
Mhm.
reduced back down to two or three guys full time and filled out all the rest with subs. And they actually said they were more profitable once they did that. It certainly seems like less of a headache. I mean, what is your thought around, a company, design build firm having, a big team, in this day and age versus working mostly with subs?
You know, I think having employees is a challenge, and even having subs is a challenge. You got to find really good people to work with, people that are dependable, have skills, and everybody has problems. I mean, everybody has a life outside of work, and bringing that all together is challenging, and it probably is way less complicated to have fewer internal employees, but it does, that you got to wear a few more hats probably at the same time.
Uh-huh.
So and your net for the year is going to be lower, but you can spread that on a few less pieces of bread and still got the same amount of meat, basically, is the way I look at it. I enjoy it. I like to do variable things in my day and work in the office and in the field. And I wouldn't want to be behind the computer like 80 to 90% of the day. That to me would not satisfy what I need out of life.
Uh-huh.
So
Sure. Got it. Well, we talked a little bit about, here before the show about some of the things you're focused on. And, here we've also kind of made note of that. I think you have that somewhat kind of on your website, some of the different areas around that we've done research. Looks like a big focus of yours is on communication. And you had said, clarity is key when it comes to working with homeowners and also with employees or subs. What does that mean to you? Clarity is key.
you know, if you were working with a client and in first of all, they are telling you what they want out of the job. You have to reciprocate that through the form of a contract, obviously. And the more details really you can put in there, the more confidence they're going to have that they're going to get what they want. And as far as subcontractors doing the same thing for me, that's it brings confidence to me in that A, they know what they're doing, and B, I'm not going to get hit with a bunch of change orders, because if there's not a lot of verbiage in there about lineal footage and square footage of whatever X is that they're doing, it's not a very good contract. So clarity is good. And then you meet with the clients on that end and read over it, and they have questions, they're right there, and you add some details or refine the contract at that point. And things just work smoothly that way. And the more details you have in your contract, the easier it is to really figure out the cost of the job, because it's all these steps going through your head for the process of the job. And without that, you don't really go through that thought process. It's kind of how it works for me, at least.
Interesting.
So
And can I just ask you, Dennis? I mean, how do you kind of present that? I mean, it sounds like you've got a contract that's got some kind of length to it, and you are maybe adding things over time as well. If stuff comes up, kind of adding things in there. I mean, do you have a process of going over a contract with a homeowner? I mean, does it sit down and read through the whole thing one by one, or is it send it over ahead of time, give them a few days to look at it? I mean, how do you kind of present that, very detailed contract to someone? I mean, just kind of wondering how you go over that and present that to someone.
usually I will send it over via email first, and I'll just say, hey, if you have a printer, print this out, make notes on the contract, write all over it, and let's schedule a time to meet and address any concerns you have. Or I'm aware that some of the contract is construction jargon that a lot of people don't know. I mean, you try to be pretty layman's term on your contract so that everybody will understand, but inevitably there are things you're talking about that most of the general population wouldn't quite get without some explanation. And then at the same time, you get to know Mr. and Mrs. Martinez or Jones or whatever, and it's a level of comfort, for them and you. And you can discuss whatever, all the way down to how messy is this going to be, and what's the schedule going to be, and what do we need to do to prepare, and have in your contract, like, on X date, maybe plus or minus 5 days, an RFP, request for payment, will be sent at the end of tile. That's a milestone for a payment. So they know they're headed towards this milestone, and they need to either transfer money or be prepared to cut a check so that you can keep on going on the job. Just
Yeah,
all
that's
the
great.
details are in there.
It seems like that's been a recurring theme here on the show is, folks talking about the importance of clarity and communication, even when someone's, project's just T&M and, the expectation's been set that there's going to be some change orders of some kinds that still when change orders do come up, folks don't like it. So to
No,
set those
exactly.
expectations, yeah. So to set those
Yeah, I
expectations really well, it seems like a great idea. Yeah, go ahead, Dennis.
so like for example, on a kitchen remodel or something like that, the biggest line item is typically the cabinets, and I can give an allowance. I can give an allowance for cabinets, and I've got it figured pretty close, but we may add some pullouts or something like that. How do you justify a change order? Basically, it's not just it was more expensive. It is, this is the allowance we had for the cabinets, and due to these changes, we are here now. Or the solid surface is a more expensive product that you chose, and it's affecting the cost. And as they're making those choices, do your best to inform them that this is where we are, and you know this that might save you some money actually to spend on the cabinets, or hopefully it all works out to be basically on budget. And one thing will be a little more expensive allowance wise, some things will be a little less, and the goal is really to work out in this price range. And don't ever assume that people just have super deep pockets and that they can just pay for it, because they may not be able to, and that's a bad place to be,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Amazing. Just excellent advice here, Dennis. Really appreciate you being open and just kind of sharing with our listeners here, your strategy around running your business. If we've taken a look, you guys have got great ratings on Google, great reviews around the web. Look like you've got just a great company. And I love this design
Thanks.
build quality. Yeah, where you're really, that has always been kind of close to my heart. I've done some design build stuff myself, and I just love that full circle of being the designer and then going out and executing on the project as well.
It is
It's
really
awesome.
fun. It is really fun. And then utilize people that are smarter than you, like engineers. And you're gonna put in a 20-foot sliding door. I have a pretty good idea of the beam size and can figure that out, but am I just going to do that? No, like have your engineer like check that out. Life safety is important, and you want things to work well as well. Just prove it. Even if you're not getting a
Hmm.
permit, prove that it's going to work. If it's something over frosting on the cake, basically, especially tile changing tile is no big deal, but you start getting into structural stuff, do your diligence and make sure that the plan is going to work.
Oh, that's great. Well, fantastic, Dennis. If folks are looking for a great company to, remodeler to work with in Chandler and the surrounding area, what are the best ways to? Sorry, I'm losing my internet a little bit. What are the best ways to reach out to you guys?
Well, our website, you can contact us directly, www.remodeleastvalley.com. And my business line is 480-753-9065. We would love to hear from you. Would love to hear about your projects, and we're excited to potentially be a part of it. And yeah, we're always looking for business, and do our best to make everyone happy.
I believe that. Well, fantastic. We get in touch with Dennis Kelsay over at East Valley Remodeling. Their website, remodeleastvalley.com, and their phone number is 480-753-9065. Dennis, thanks so much for being on the show and sharing your wisdom today.
Thank you, Mark. It's a pleasure to be here. You have a great day.